There is a conversation that happens in silence. In doctors' offices, in home kitchens, in sleepless nights, in lost gazes in front of the mirror. It is the conversation that millions of women have with themselves every single day, unable to put into words what they feel. A tiredness that goes beyond the physical. A body that's to have stopped listening. A feeling that something fundamental has changed, but no one can fully explain what is happening. That conversation has a name, and that name is menopause. But not the menopause that people usually describe in superficial terms, as if it were simply the end of menstruation or a difficult phase that every woman just needs to endure with patience. The menopause that this video will explore is deeper, more silent, and far more wide-reaching than most people imagine. What few people understand, and what science has been revealing with increasing clarity, is that menopause does not begin when menstruation stops. It begins years before, sometimes a decade before. And during all that time, a woman's body is sending signals that are systematically ignored, misinterpreted, or attributed to other causes. Tired, work stress, insomnia, modern anxiety, weight gain, lack of discipline, forgetfulness, distraction, constant irritation, personality, hot flashes, just the summer heat. And so the woman accumulates symptoms, accumulates silences, accumulates years of a hormonal imbalance that could have been recognized, understood, and addressed much sooner. This video is not about making menopause seem catastrophic. Quite the opposite. It is about giving women back the power to understand their own bodies. It is about revealing a simple science-backed method that few women know. And it begins, surprisingly, at the kitchen table. If this content is already resonating with you, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications, because what you are about to learn in the next few minutes may explain symptoms you have been carrying for years without understanding why. What few people understand, and what science has been revealing with increasing clarity, is that estrogen and progesterone are not only responsible for reproduction. They are messenger molecules that regulate virtually every system in the body: sleep, metabolism, mood, memory, bone health, cardiovascular health, thyroid function, stress response, inflammation, immunity. When these hormones begin to fluctuate, which happens gradually throughout the years of perimenopause, even before formal menopause begins, the entire body feels it. It is as if the conductor of an orchestra begins to lose the rhythm. Each instrument still plays, but the harmony falls apart. And what makes this process even more complicated is that declining estrogen directly affects other hormones. Cortisol, the stress hormone, tends to rise. Insulin, which regulates blood sugar, becomes less efficient. Leptin and ghrelin, which control appetite and satiety, lose their balance. The thyroid becomes more vulnerable. The result is that cluster of symptoms so many women live with but cannot explain. Weight settling around the abdomen even without eating more than before. Fatigue that does not go away with rest. A mind that feels foggy, sleep that turns into a battlefield. The question this video sets out to answer is there something a woman can do, in her daily life, to help her body move through this period with more balance? Science says yes. And it begins with what she puts on her plate. For decades, nutrition was taught around a simple logic: calories in, calories out. But that view ignores something fundamental that modern science has revealed with growing clarity. Food is not just energy. Food is information. Every bite a woman takes sends signals to her hormones. Some foods raise cortisol. Others reduce it. Some trigger insulin spikes that a body in menopause can no longer manage well. Others stabilize blood sugar and protect the metabolism. Some nourish the gut bacteria that, in turn, regulate estrogen balance. Others destroy that delicate ecosystem. And this is where the method that few women know comes in. It is not a radical diet. It does not involve eliminating entire food groups. It is about understanding which specific foods have the ability to communicate directly with female hormonal systems, and incorporating them in a strategic and consistent way into everyday eating. 7 foods, in particular, have been drawing the attention of researchers and specialists in women's hormonal health. 7 foods that most women have available or could have in their own kitchen, but that are rarely consumed with any awareness of the impact they can have on menopause symptoms. The first discovery that surprises many women is that there is a common, inexpensive, and widely available plant that contains compounds capable of gently mimicking estrogen activity in the body. That plant is flax. And its seeds, flax seeds, are one of the richest known sources of lignans, a type of phytoestrogen that binds to the body's estrogen receptors with far less potency than synthetic hormones, but with meaningful biological effect. This means that at a time when the ovaries are drastically reducing estrogen production, the lignans in flax seeds can function as a kind of gentle support, helping to soften the effects of that sharp decline. Studies published in nutrition and endocrinology journals have associated regular flaxseed consumption with a reduction in hot flashes, improved lipid profiles, and relief from symptoms such as irritability and vaginal dryness. The most effective way to consume flax seeds is ground, which facilitates absorption of the bioactive compounds. 2 tablespoons per day, added to yogurt, smoothies, oatmeal, or salads, already represents a relevant amount. And the habit, when maintained consistently over weeks, begins to produce noticeable effects in the body. If there is one nutrient that specialists in women's hormonal health repeatedly cite as essential during menopause, it is omega-3 fatty acids. And salmon is one of the richest and most bioavailable sources of these fatty acids in the world. During menopause, systemic inflammation tends to increase. Estrogen played an important anti-inflammatory role in the body, and when it declines, that protection diminishes. The result is a low-grade inflammation that contributes to fatigue, joint pain, mood instability, and sleep disturbances, symptoms that many women report but struggle to trace back to a clear cause. The omega-3s found in salmon, particularly EPA and DHA, have a powerful and direct anti-inflammatory action. Additionally, DHA is a fundamental structural component of the brain, and adequate levels are associated with protection against the cognitive decline some women experience during hormonal transition. Sleep also improves because omega-3s directly influence the production of serotonin and melatonin. 2 to 3 servings of salmon per week already represent a significant contribution. For women who do not have frequent access to fresh salmon, sardines, tuna, and mackerel are equally effective and far more affordable alternatives. Female sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, are molecules derived from cholesterol. This means that without healthy fats in the diet, the body literally lacks the raw material it needs to produce these hormones. And this is where avocado enters as one of the most powerful allies of women's hormonal nutrition. Avocado is one of the most complete sources of monounsaturated fats in the plant world. It is also rich in beta-sitosterol, a compound that helps regulate cortisol levels, which is especially relevant for women in menopause, who frequently present with elevated cortisol, contributing to abdominal fat accumulation and sleep disruption. Avocado also provides magnesium, potassium, and B-complex vitamins, all nutrients that participate directly in hormonal synthesis and regulation. And its fiber content contributes to blood sugar stabilization, something fundamental during a period when insulin sensitivity is compromised. Half an avocado per day, integrated into meals, already represents a measurable positive impact. There is a process that happens in the liver silently every single day, the metabolism of estrogen. When the liver is functioning well, it processes used estrogens, converts them into inactive forms, and eliminates them through the intestine. When this process fails, improperly metabolized estrogens accumulate in the body, contributing to symptoms such as bloating, irritability, breast tenderness, and, in more serious cases, deeper hormonal imbalances. Broccoli, along with kale, cabbage, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts, belongs to the cruciferous family, vegetables that contain compounds called indole-3-carbinol and diam, which have a direct and well-documented action in supporting healthy estrogen metabolism by the liver. Studies have associated regular consumption of cruciferous vegetables with improved hormonal balance, reduced symptoms related to excess estrogen, and even protection against certain hormone-dependent cancers. 1 to 2 daily servings, steamed, sautéed, or raw in salads, is sufficient to reap these benefits consistently. Many women who already apply these dietary principles find that when symptoms are intense, food alone may not provide the speed of relief their body needs. For those women, there is a natural solution listed in the first link in the description. A supplement developed specifically to support hormonal balance during menopause, enhancing exactly what these foods already do for the body. It is well worth exploring. Eggs carry an unfair stigma that science has systematically disproven. For decades, they were demonized because of cholesterol. Today, evidence shows that eggs are one of the most complete and nutritionally dense foods available. And for women in menopause specifically, two nutrients found in eggs are of exceptional importance. The first is choline, a compound essential for liver function, brain health, and the production of neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine, directly linked to memory and cognition. Many women in menopause report a feeling of mental fog, frequent forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating. In part, this is related to the drop in estrogen, but choline deficiency significantly worsens that picture. The second is complete protein. During menopause, muscle loss accelerates, metabolism slows down, and maintaining a healthy weight requires consistent protein intake. 2 eggs per day, scrambled, fried in olive oil, boiled, or as an omelet, represent a nutritional contribution that few other foods can match at the same cost and convenience. One of the most significant discoveries in modern medicine over the past few decades is the extent to which gut health influences virtually every system in the body. And in the specific case of female hormones, that relationship is even more direct than most people imagine. There is a group of gut bacteria collectively called the estrobolome, which has the ability to influence how estrogen is metabolized and reabsorbed in the body. When this ecosystem is out of balance, which happens frequently during menopause, especially in women who have spent years consuming diets rich in ultra-processed foods and sugar, estrogen regulation becomes compromised, and symptoms intensify. Full-fat Greek yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, miso, and other fermented foods provide live probiotics that nourish and rebalance that intestinal microbiome. The practical effect is an improvement in hormonal metabolism, nutrient absorption, immune function, and even mood, since the gut produces the majority of the body's serotonin. One daily serving of fermented foods already represents a meaningful shift in hormonal health over time. Berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries are perhaps the foods with the highest concentration of antioxidants per calorie available in nature. And during menopause, that characteristic takes on special importance. Oxidative stress increases during menopause, in part because estrogen had a protective role against this process. Berries provide anthocyanins, flavonoids, and vitamin C in expressive quantities, helping to neutralize that increase in a direct and measurable way. But the benefit goes further. Studies have shown that compounds in berries help modulate the insulin response, stabilizing blood sugar levels after meals, something clinically relevant during a period when insulin resistance is one of the primary metabolic concerns for women. Berries have also demonstrated the ability to reduce cortisol levels, contributing directly to improved sleep and mood. 1 cup per day, fresh, frozen, or in smoothies, already represents an expressive antioxidant contribution. Science is clear. The human body has an extraordinary capacity to reorganize itself when it receives the right nutrients, at the right times consistently. Menopause is not a sentence. It is a transition. And like every transition, it can be experienced in very different ways, depending on the resources the body has at its disposal. When a woman begins incorporating these 7 foods regularly, ground flaxseed in the morning, salmon twice a week, avocado at lunch, broccoli at dinner, eggs as a daily protein source, kefir or yogurt as a snack, and berries as dessert or in a morning smoothie, something begins to change. Not overnight, but progressively, noticeably, and genuinely. Sleep begins to reorganize. Energy returns at moments of the day when there was only exhaustion before. The abdominal weight that resisted every effort begins to respond. The mind becomes clearer. Mood stabilizes. The body finally begins to be heard and to respond. This happens because these foods are not simply providing calories. They are sending hormonal signals. They are giving the liver the support it needs to metabolize estrogen efficiently. They are nourishing the gut bacteria that regulate hormonal reabsorption. They are providing the building blocks the body uses to produce and regulate its own hormones. It is a simple method, but profoundly effective. And that is precisely why so few women know it, because it does not sell a drug, does not require an expensive procedure, and does not depend on a prescription. It depends only on knowledge and on consistency. It is important at this point to speak honestly about something many women prefer not to hear. The hormonal imbalance of menopause when left unaddressed, when symptoms are ignored, when the diet remains poor in hormonal nutrients, when stress stays elevated and sleep stays fragmented, does not remain static. Progresses. Bone loss accelerates, increasing the risk of osteoporosis and fractures. Insulin resistance deepens, paving the way for type 2 diabetes. Chronic low-grade inflammation contributes to increased cardiovascular risk, which, after menopause, becomes the leading cause of death among women. Mental health becomes fragile, with episodes of anxiety and depression growing more frequent and more intense. This is not about generating fear. It is about generating awareness, because the woman who understands what is at stake has far more motivation to make the changes that are necessary. And the necessary changes, as this video has shown, begin with something concrete, accessible, and powerful: what she puts on her plate every single day. Many women who watch this video write to us saying that even after improving their diet, they still feel they need additional support, especially in the first months of transition, when symptoms are most intense. For those women, the natural supplement listed in the first link in the description has been an important tool. It was developed based on the same principles you learned here, to act directly on the hormonal pathways that menopause disrupts. Visit the first link in the description and learn more. What you learned here today is not a passing trend. It is not an empty promise. It is science applied to the everyday reality of a woman going through one of the most significant transitions of her life. Flax seeds, salmon, avocado, broccoli, eggs, fermented foods, berries, 7 foods, 7 hormonal signals, 7 daily opportunities to support the body in a way that most women simply do not know about. Menopause will happen, but how it is experienced, with suffering and confusion, or with awareness and balance, depends in large part on the choices a woman makes now. And the most powerful choice that exists is the choice of knowledge. We hope this video has shed light on something you may have been searching for a long time, that it has given a name to symptoms that seem to have no explanation, and that it has shown in a clear and practical way that there is a path. Simple, natural, literally within reach of your hands. If this content made sense to you, leave a like. It helps this channel reach more women who need this information. Share it with a friend, a sister, a mother. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. And visit the first link in the description to discover the natural support that can enhance everything you learned here today. See you in the next video.